2 Drops by Zbigniew Herbert. The forests were on fire. They, however, wreathed their necks with their hands like bouquets of roses. People ran to the shelters. He said his wife had hair in whose depths one could hide. Covered by one blanket, they whispered shameless words, the litany of those who love. When it got very bad, they leapt into each other's eyes and shut them firmly, so firmly that they did not feel the flames when they came up to the eyelashes. To the end, they were brave. To the end, they were faithful. To the end, they were similar, like 2 drops stuck at the edge of a face.
Solitude by Robin Flower. They could not stack the turf in that wet spring, and the cold nights were icy in our bones. And so we burned furs and the rusted bracken. I climbed the hill alone, and by the old fort gathered in the sun red fern and crackling furs. And as I worked, a mist came from the sea and took the world away and left me islanded in that high air, where the drenched dune broods silent on the hill. I did not know what shapes were in the mist, but solitude was made more solitary by some re-risen memory of the earth that gathered round my loneliness and threatened with the dead my living breath. I could have cried aloud for my sharp fear, but the mist thinned and withered, and the sun at one swift stride came through. They passed those shadowy threats, and with the great company of Ireland's hills, Brandon and Slamish and the lesser brethren, stood up in the bright air, and on the other side, the sea, the illimitable Atlantic, rolled and shone.
Genius by Moya Cannon. There is a man who polishes the brass handrails of the curved staircase in the National Library. He polishes them often and with great attention. They shine like the brass kettles that were polished weekly, on a Tuesday or a Thursday, then put back like soft lamps onto the sideboards of old people's homes. I greet him. He smiles and keeps shining, rubbing off the drying green polish. When I borrow books, I sometimes find that the writers who wanted to dream a nation into being, or forge its conscience, or reveal its hypocrisies, have sat and read at these same green tables. They have all walked up the same staircase, holding or leaning on the brass rails, which are brazen serpents, curved bands of light. The man who keeps the rails gleaming, who brushes up the rain-soaked leaves outside, has written no books. He is a genius of care, the genius of the place.
Antarctica by Derek Mahan. I am just going outside and maybe some time. The others nod, pretending not to know. At the heart of the ridiculous, the sublime. He leaves them reading and begins to climb, goading his ghost into the howling snow. He is just going outside and maybe some time. The tent recedes beneath its crust of rime, and frostbite is replaced by vertigo. At the heart of the ridiculous, the sublime. Need we consider it some sort of crime, this numb self-sacrifice of the weakest? No. He is just going outside and maybe some time. In fact, forever. Solitary enzyme. Though the night yield no glimmer, there will glow the heart of the ridiculous, the sublime. He takes leave of the earthly pantomime quietly, knowing it is time to go. I am just going outside and maybe some time. At the heart of the ridiculous, the sublime.
The Eagle by Matthew Sweeney. My father is writing in Irish. The English language, with all its facts, will not do. It is too modern. It is good for plane crashes, for unemployment, but not for the unexplained return of the eagle to Donegal. He describes the settled pair in their eyrie on the not-so-high mountain. He uses an archaic Irish to describe what used to be, what is again, though hunters are reluctant to agree on what will be. He's coined a new word for vigilantes who keep a camera watch on the foothills. He joins them when he's not writing, and when he is. He writes about giant eggs, about a whole new strain. He brings in folklore and folk prophecy. He brings in the date when the last golden eagle was glimpsed there. The research is new and dodgy, but the praise is as old as the eagle.
Sailing to Byzantium by William Butler Yeats. That is no country for old men, the young in one another's arms, birds in the trees, those dying generations at their song, the salmon falls, the mackerel crowded seas, fish, flesh or fowl, commend all summer long whatever is begotten, born, dies. Caught in that sensual music, all neglect monuments of unaging intellect. An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick, unless soul clap its hands and sing, and louder sing for every tatter in its mortal dress. Nor is there singing school, but studying monuments of its own magnificence. And therefore I have sailed the seas and come to the holy city of Byzantium. O sages standing in God's holy fire, as in the gold mosaic of a wall, come from the holy fire, burn in a gyre, and be the singing masters of my soul. Consume my heart away, sick with desire, and fasten to a dying animal it knows not what it is, and gather me into the artifice of eternity. Once out of nature I shall never take my bodily form from any natural thing, but such a form as Grecian goldsmiths make, of hammered gold and gold enamelling, to keep a drowsy emperor awake, or set upon a golden bough to sing to lords and ladies of Byzantium of what is past, or passing, or to come.
Easter 1916 by William Butler Yeats. I have met them at close of day, coming with vivid faces, from counter or desk among grey 18th century houses. I've passed with a nod of the head, or polite meaningless words, or have lingered a while and said polite meaningless words, and thought before I had done of a mocking tale or a jibe to please a companion around the fire at the club, being certain that they and I but lived where motley is worn. All changed, changed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. That woman's days were spent in ignorant goodwill, her nights in argument until her voice grew shrill. What voice more sweet than hers, when young and beautiful she rode to harriers? This man had kept a school and rode our winged horse. This other, his helper and friend, was coming into his force. He might have won fame in the end, so sensitive his nature seemed, so daring and sweet his thought. This other man I had dreamed, a drunken, vainglorious lout. He had done most bitter wrong to some or near my heart, yet I number him in this song.
Begin by Brendan Kennelly. Begin again to the summoning birds, to the sight of the light at the window. Begin to the roar of morning traffic all along Pembroke Road. Every beginning is a promise, born in light and dying in dark. Determination and exaltation of springtime flowering the way to work. Begin to the pageant of queuing girls, the arrogant loneliness of swans in the canal, bridges linking the past and future, old friends passing, though with us still. Begin to the loneliness that cannot end, since it perhaps is what makes us begin. Begin to wonder at unknown faces, at crying birds in the sudden rain, at branches stark in the willing sunlight, at seagulls foraging for bread, at couples sharing a sunny secret, alone, together, while making good. Though we live in a world that dreams of ending, that always seems about to give in, something that will not acknowledge conclusion insists that we forever begin.